nuclear option? The Saudis are in talks with China to pivot away from the US dollar. Loss of currency supremacy would threaten regular Americans. Ardmore WND reports the United States dollar's position as a chief currency of trade for global oil industry has been a foundation of the American economy for decades, keeping inflation at bay amid the Fed's unprecedented printing of money. But now Saudi Arabia and China are in talks to price some of the monarchy's oil sales in the Chinese yuan rather than US dollars, according to Wall Street Journal report of Tuesday. Chinese people familiar with the matter, the paper said that after 6 years of off and on discussions, talks stepped up this year amid Riyadh, Saudi Arabia's strong opposition to Washington's nuclear negotiations with Iran and other issues. The Saudis, whose oil industry was developed by the US, have exclusively used the dollar for trading oil since the mid-1970s as part of a bilateral security agreement. Nearly 80% of global oil sales are priced in dollars, and Saudi Arabia possesses about 17% of the world's proven petroleum reserves. However, tensions have grown between US and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman since 2018. With the issue of the dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi, the relationship has only worsened since President Biden said that it would make Saudi Arabia a global pariah, and his administration renewed talks with Iran. Meanwhile, Biden and Western leaders are appealing to Riyadh to pump more oil in response to the Ukraine crisis, and the decision is no longer import Russian oil. Wall Street Journal pointed out that Saudi pivot to China could prompt other oil suppliers to China, Russia, Angola, and Iraq to do the same. In 2019, Saudi Arabia threatened to sell its oil in other countries if Washington passed a bill exposing OPEC members to U.S. antitrust lawsuits, Reuters reported at that time. The bill, known as NOPEC, N-O-P-E-C, could have provoked what is described by Reuters source as a nuclear option, quote-unquote. The ditching of the dollar, the wire service said, would undermine the currency's status as the world's main reserve currency, reducing Washington's clout in global trade and weaken its ability to enforce sanctions on nations. Another Reuters source said the Saudis were warning that if NOPEC, the No Oil Producing and Exporting Cartels Act, passed, it would be the U.S. economy that would fall apart. NOPEC, first introduced in 2000, aims to remove sovereign immunity from U.S. antitrust law, allowing OPEC states to be sued for reducing output to raise oil prices. Reuters noted in 2019 a move by Saudi Arabia to ditch the dollar would resonate well with big non-OPEC oil producers such as Russia, as well as major consumers China and the European Union, which have been calling for moves to diversify global trade away from the dollar to dilute U.S. influence over the world economy. So why it matters to regular Americans? On Tuesday, former Trump economic advisor Steve Cortes reacted to the breaking news regarding the Riyadh-Beijing talks in an interview with Steve Bannon on War Room. What Joe Biden is right now jeopardizing is a century, literally a century, of the hegemony, the supremacy, the primacy of the United States dollar, Cortes says. All important global transactions have taken place with the U.S. dollar, he explained, because the dollar is backed by the full faith and credit of the people of the United States and protected also by the supremacy of the United States military. But all of that has been put in jeopardy, Cortes says, by the weaponization of money against regular working class people in Russia who have seen the value of their rubles and their purchasing power collapse in recent weeks. One of the chief consequences, he said, could be that we are literally compelling the rest of the world to find currency alternatives because they cannot operate at the whim of the United States. They essentially, he said, could be debanked, they could be de-dollarized at the stroke of a pen by someone like Joe Biden. Cortes noted the Wall Street Journal's report that Chinese President Xi Jinping's first trip abroad since the beginning of the pandemic will be to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He said there's an emerging alliance on the Eurasian landmass, India, China, Saudi Arabia, and Moscow, Russia that is. It's a complex alliance. with many internal conflicts, Cordes says, but all of them now have a vested interest in not operating in US dollars. And he said, and that matters to regular Americans, even if you don't care about foreign affairs, because King Dollar, until Biden, has kept inflation contained for the last 40 years, he said. And this is on WND. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.